There's always somebody that knows more than you. Otherwise, you're hanging around the wrong people. I wanted to talk about how good it feels to be alive and breathing. Even though the world is beginning to end, and it's going to be a hell of a grueling process if we consider Pluto, that we all talk about. Finally, it's getting out of Capricorn and going into Aquarius. Well, it does hit 0 degrees. I'm not sure now. I can call up the ephemeris and see if it hits 1 degree, but it hardly hits 1 degree, and then it goes back into Capricorn, and it keeps doing this for 2 years. And oh my God, that the thought of that, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that way. I mean, a planet could just go into the sign and keep going. But it's kind of like what Jupiter did with Aries, and it's okay. I mean, if they do that, what are we going to do about it? But that's what's happening. Um, let alone that, we have to get through like the first week of March, let alone March itself. The first week of March, there's an alignment with the Aries planets. Jupiter, Venus is going to conjunct, and Chiron. Chiron, Venus, and Jupiter are all in Aries, and Chiron we don't talk about much. But I understand it as the wounded warrior. I think it has to do with Aries to begin with, I think. But we have this problem within humanity that is the wounded warrior kind of sensation, there's this hidden fact of society. Nobody has a deep conversation. Like, how are you doing? Well, I take that back. There should be that within your microcosm. You shouldn't be saying that, but the truth is, okay, so it's a strange, I mean, if you haven't noticed, the wounded warrior, we're talking about imprisonment. We're talking about getting through shadow and works that we need to do, inner deep work on ourself, because it has to do with Chiron. It's been in Chiron. Chiron has been in Aries for a while, but now we have Jupiter going there, and it's going to conjunct Chiron. I think it's at 14 degrees, right? It conjuncts Chiron, and Venus is going to be there. Is going to catch up, I think, and so this is happening in the beginning of March, and it's really Jupiter is going to inflate the Chiron issue there, wherever that is in your chart. For me, it's on my ascendant. Aries in general, they have, it rules the head, so they can really get into their head a little bit too much, right? I mean, they are known to be kind of egoic, right? It's Mars ruled, so it's not really like they're thinking. They're just using their head as a nutcracker. I'm just kidding, but no, that's a good little analogy, because who is the nut but the one thinking a little bit too much over there? It's like, just jump, do it. That's what Aries says. It's like, baby, if you don't get that first off, you're going to be living in bubble wrap for the rest of the duration, and that's humanity for us. Is that a wounded warrior, or did you just not get up and get going? Man, I worry about. I mean, this is the Libra thing. I kind of understand now. Like, what I'm dealing with here as an Aries rising is mainly Libra risings, and they don't know that it's like I'm like, come on, sit next to me. I want to make you strong, and I want to, because I have, if my planets happen to sit on your ascendant, I can only imagine how you feel with that energy on your ascendant. But I also look and go, you know what? Actually, I would love to, because I have Pluto there in between Sun and even Venus and Sun. Mars is in between there. Really, the good quality of it is the transformer. I claim to be the darn um, transformational guru, very much so. People end up calling me guru in real life, and imagine how fun I am. All of the things you hear about gurus, the main thing is that I'm not going to talk about it, but thank you. Let's see, I just got an earring that said, don't say that. But if you are, if you know what Pluto rules, it rules Scorpio, and what Scorpio is all about is nothing. They just like to go to sleep at night, wake up and go to work. Anyway, repeat, repeat, repeat. No, boy, getting into, gosh, I'm sorry about this video. Don't be sorry. What's really happening, babes, is, yeah, the Aries planets that are kind of proceeding this Piscean groove we have going on, babes. At the same time, we have the Pisces. Um, Mars is going to be squaring Neptune, and then there's a time of the here coming up while the Sun is in Pisces. It's going to conjunct Neptune. And this is a very Piscean time, which is a time of dreaming. It's a time of no structure. It's a time of, like I was trying to tell you, and it's a time where it's really important to know how to use this season, right? It's a time of sowing seeds, kind of like you want to actually plot it in your mind first. How is it all going to look? I wish that I could be enthusiastic about gardening, but I've noticed that every year, it depends on the kind of chemtrail that they spray overhead, when, and of course the water and the soil that you're using, the seed that you have, does it, and if it says organic, non-GMO, what you're looking at is you better plant like twice as much. Well, it's twice as expensive, but to get a bigger yield, because, well, they're not so bountiful and things. It's like, man, there's, I kind of, when I heard that they were going to switch to eating crickets, I was like, smart, smart. Where's my cricket bucket? I need to start. I actually, something I never imagined, but it's like I started eating nettles last year, beginning of the year. Oh my God, they're delicious. You just make sure you're wearing gloves, and when you boil them, they are more potent than spinach. Where is this video going? Nowhere. Not in Pisces, and neither are you. There's a lot of Pisces, okay? So, um, with Saturn going into Pisces, thank God, it's like Christ is coming to town with with a with the Saturn, with Satan. They're going to be, I knew we were the same, or whatever people are thinking with that. But what I think it really is, it's, of course, these are metaphors, and I'm about to look up when all this has happened, hopefully, and be a little bit more informationally useful during this time of just, you don't get the information right when things are squaring Neptune. Be careful, especially around, like, say, okay, it's at the end of this week, March 4th, around Friday. It's just it's a very tedious time physically for people. Don't rush around, don't rush into things too much, right? I mean, uh, I just made a comment to somebody who said something that's like, oh my God, I shouldn't respond like that, because that could start an amazing energetic thing that's like, what a waste of time that is. If I get, I don't really mean any harm to people, but needless to say, I mean, I get I mean, with it, like with anybody else, you can get a little bit impatient, right? You can get frustrated, give everybody a break, give yourself a break about that. I'll try to choose a better route than to have some kind of weird thing to say, but hey, you know, what? No, this is important. We have to, like I said, I'm the guru, and when we start talking, if it's a comment, I'm going to try to do my best to bring it to the highest point, to where if a 5-year-old is reading, or above the level of the consciousness of a brick wall, is reading it, they will be able to absorb something because it might be something that they experience. It's like, wait a minute, Chink, that's the truth that they don't talk about usually. Boy, let yourself fucking go. I mean, as far as loosen up an expression, um, there's a lot that could go down while Pluto is doing this back and forth thing, and then we have Saturn in Pisces going to be. It's hard to explain that vibe. I you know I hate to be negative about it, but there's in the big book of the rulership of Saturn, there could be like skin problems breaking out, and you don't doubt that with all of the chemical release in the middle of in the heartland of the USA or wherever else. Chemical, like, and also yes, the increase in chemical substances. Everybody knows about Pisces, um, and then Saturn there. It's like, well, we're going to structure this up, and it's probably going to be a school on which psychedelics to use, which is not a bad thing. There's good and bad about these things. You've got to weed through. So we're looking at, like, this is the last day of February. I just found out that this is leap year. Somebody said it wasn't leap year, and so with Mars approaching Neptune and then Sun approaching Neptune, nobody is going to get their information right. Did they ever see? It's looking like Mars squares Neptune right around about Sunday on the 12th of March. And then, so what is the Sun doing in Pisces? It's going to hit 24 degrees on, wow, right, almost after that is like on the 15th of March. And that's just a dreamy time. Boy, cross your fingers about when Mars squares Neptune. Those two are not doing a very trustworthy whirly bob. Men will probably flare up and get blinded by their minds to the point. I mean, of course, some of this information that we talk about is like, by the way, the end of the world is coming, and everything is fixed to keep you, and you don't want to hear that. These poor sensitive people, right? It can wrench at you, right? Of course, at least you're healthy and you feel things. That's what's going to be going on, and be careful with these fire planets in the air. That there's going to be some things going on, because Mars rules Aries, fire, and then there's um, the Chiron conjunction with the Venus, and then Jupiter is there, like, inflating the Chiron. So that's just, humanity is, like I said, if they didn't abuse themselves into just saying, no, I'm gonna boil the nettles, like, really good. Get them while they grow all along the creek. I'm so excited about this year. I have a big batch on my end of my property here, but everybody knows the nettles are just plentiful all along the creek. That is really good nutrients. It is like equal to, I mean, you are getting administered medicine right there. Really tasty. It's really like a spinach. It's more like a protein soup. Way more potent than spinach. Well, thank you for listening to this. A little preparation psychologically is the first thing to do. You can just get in your mind that, you might be lucky enough, if you got through this video, that you are being prepared already. Something, little different things you're doing. Otherwise, I don't know, you're lucky to be in a box inside of a box inside of a box. I'm here on the fringes where the war is up and running. They, it's the rurals and the places where people are self-sustaining, and they're going, oh, well, knock off all the signs and all of that. We know life is getting hard. It's getting can get hard, and it's hard enough. people are making it harder. And then what do people do? It just seems like they get subdued and say, fuck it, I'm happy being in my box inside of a box inside of a box, and watch the war go on like this. And it's exactly what they explain, right? And nobody will ever look up out of their gadgets at the end of the freaking whole entire world coming down. And has that happened yet? Man, I can go on and on about what I've seen change around here and how that you cannot stop whatever it is that has been controlling. This is another thing. It's like, are you going to turn alcoholic over this come Pisces age towards the end? You know what I mean? Really, the good side of Pisces is they turn highly religious, and they are that's we're worried about when Saturn goes into Pisces. It's like, yes, we're going to erect a church again. Well, what is it really going to be based on? I don't know. We're waiting for Christ, right? Oh my God, Christ is going to show up with some psychedelics, if anything. That's what's going on with Saturn and Pisces, and there is going to be a weird skin problem. You'd be like, are you sure that's good for you, man? You got to watch out for some substances, right? And then also, it will be hard to. It's hard for a lot of people. They're extremely talk about Pluto going into Capricorn and going back, and blah, blah, blah. We're going to experience people that are going to be having to let go of being so inhibited. And it's like, but by the way, um, don't judge like too hardcore. Those artists over there, rather than the alcoholics over there, but the Piscean artists, the ones that are now, this is getting into, they call them like, probably spiritual or mystics, religious. Now I'm going to put the video up and say, now look at this story about what a truly religious person is, um, as opposed to the cult over there. What are they drinking? Anyway, never mind. No, yes. Never mind is a good saying. Forget that thing. Let's find out what the true nature of reality is. So, looking at the ephemeris here, we got middle of March. We got all of March here going to be a wham, bam, 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 1-2 punch of things. I was on to that Mars and is going to do this Neptune square. Let me find out when Venus is at 14 Aries. It's right here on Saturday. So this is and this is the thing that's going to be happening on Friday. Like I said, Friday and Saturday. Friday is just a big be careful. Okay, so but we have Venus and then Jupiter. Okay, so these two are very conjunct, and then there's Chiron right in the middle, and because Chiron is there, I mean, I wouldn't be so alarmed about the danger of it. With Jupiter and Venus, that's a really good aspect. There could be a really good thing if you have that degree fire, 12 to 14 degrees, 12 would be ideal. When Venus conjuncts Jupiter, play the lotto. Play the lotto, you Aries people, if you have that degree. But be careful. You know what I mean? The Chiron thing. I mean, everybody is walking around in their bubble wrap anyway, and that's probably what makes them. Yes, very clumsy. Very depth perception is up, and they're going to be yelling at each other about it. I'm talking about the yelling part. Mercury has just conjunct. This is on Thursday, the very beginning, tomorrow. It's good for me. I'll be able to talk to you about this. If Mercury conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn is at 29. Talk about that tension at the end degree of Aquarius there. We have been having a thing going on with Saturn in Aquarius for the last 2.5 years. This is the exit of Satan over humanity and my moon. My God! I have made some tail end videos of it squaring my moon. We went through a Saturn square Uranus on and off, right on my moon. And my emotions are not, I'm not good at that anyway, as an Aquarius moon, but then it just flies out the handle. It's absolutely hilarious. It's really funny. Really funny, I think. Because I just, right, like right now. Is she trying to be funny, or is it dry? Is it tragic, or is it hilarious? We don't know. We don't know. So here we go. Um, Saturn moving into Pisces on the 8th of March, 0 degrees, and it's pumping through, and it hits 1 degree at 18th of March. And that's a nice clean Saturn went into Pisces. Thank you, God. It's not going back and forth, like all of the other planets are doing to us. Um, it's, I suspect when we think about it as astrologers, Saturn moving into Pisces, we've already seen what Neptune has been doing in Pisces for us. Whenever a planet has conjuncted, okay, so then it was Jupiter right opposed my Venus. I'll be the first one to tell you, yes, opposed my Venus. Um, that's on record too. Boy, oh boy, babes, weird. And then people just were certain that they are Christ too, or they are the witness. They are the witness to the martyrs or whatever. But he just turned into a martyr. They understand. They have, a really bad trip, superiority complex trip. I mean, that's Pisces can be very much like that, babes. That's the Piscean age. It's like, come on, find out what really happened. Having said that, babes, thanks for sitting through this. Watch the video about the truly religious. There, it's probably interesting. I know that everybody has been brainwashed about men with beards, but not if you think about who Jesus was, the bearded woman that was